All right, this is Mr. Wyrick, and I'm going to kind of talk my way through this test. I was trying to do the slides, and it just wasn't working, so I'm just going to make one YouTube video, kind of walk you through this. Understand that the questions are randomly ordered, so I'm just hitting preview, I'm starting an attempt, and I'm going through just one version of the test. So I'll try to leave some room in between questions to where you can either, you can pause the video and kind of move to the question that it's going to be about. So I'm clicking start a new attempt. So the first question here says, an interior angle of a regular polygon has a measure of 120 degrees. What type of polygon is it? Yours may be a different interior angle. Just remember for the interior angles, it's that n minus 2 times 180. That gives us the sum of the interior angles. Then you divide by n to find an individual one. So you should be able to just go in Edgenuity, or not Edgenuity, go into Desmos or use a graphing calculator and graph like x minus 2 times 180 over x, and then graph like y is equal to 120. And where those cross should be the exact number that tells you what that n, the number of sides, needs to be. And, you know, depending on what that is, pentagon, hexagon, whatever. Question number 2. Figure CDEF is a parallelogram. What's the length of side DE? There's an extra information here. Just remember, opposite sides of any parallelogram should be congruent. So set them equal to each other. Solve those out. That'll give you the value of n. And then once you solve that out, you have to remember to substitute that value back in. If you graph both of these, like it's 6n minus 1 and 5n plus 9 on this version of the test, if you graph both of them and you see where they cross, the x value is the n value or the x value or whatever. The y value will be the value of the side, the length of the side where they cross. Question number 3. For me, it has the Hijk on a grid, and it's asking for where the diagonal has a midpoint. I would just count how far up you go from one corner to another, and then cut that in half and count that at halfway and see where you are on that graph. Okay, question number 4 for me. Which statement justifies the angle below measures 45 degrees? This is an exterior angle of an octagon. This one, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's the same on all of them. It should be just the 1/8. I saw a lot of people that were picking the question, the answer that said quotient, but it's not really that one. It's just not worded correctly. It should have been the one that's 1/8 of 360 because there are 8 sides. The quotient one I think is phrased wrong for how you would actually divide them. Okay, question number 5 for me. It has DEFG is a parallelogram, and it gives me a measure for angle G, asks for angle F. Those are consecutive, so I should ignore the picture because I think somebody asked about this one and it looks weird. But just take 180 and subtract whatever degree measure they gave you. And that should give you what should be your right answer here. On question number 6, for me, this one is LMNO, and it gives me x plus 40 and 3x. So yours may be a little different on that one. And it says, what's the measure of angle O? Remember, these are consecutive angles. So I should add them together and set them equal to 180. Again, if you have Desmos, it's a graphing calculator, you can just like literally type in this case, 3x and x plus 40, and then go y equals 180 and see what comes up. But remember, that's your value for x. So you have to go back and put that x in to the correct expression to get the value for angle O. Question number 7 for me has a rectangle, and it has measurements on 2 different parts of a diagonal, and it asks for the length of the other diagonal. Keep in mind, the diagonals of any parallelogram bisect each other. So these two are going to be equal lengths. So I will need to set them equal to each other to solve for x. But I'm not done at that point. I need to make sure that I take that value for x and substitute it back into both of them, add them together. That would be the length of my entire diagonal. Question number 8. In this case, it's a kite. Remember that the where it joins the two different sides, those angles are going to be congruent, even if like my top and bottom angles there are not congruent. So in this case, I'm going to take 360 because that's what it should be for all the angles added together. I'm going to subtract 2 of whatever that side angle is, and then the bottom angle, and what's left should be my correct answer for the one up there at the top. Question number 9 has a trapezoid, ABCD, and it asks you to prove that it is isosceles. If it's isosceles, then you need to have a pair of congruent angles, at least one. So there's one angle listed at the bottom. You could just leave that one out. The two that are at the top, that would be a pair. So you need to set those equal to each other and solve for x. Again, in Desmos, you could just type them in. You can graph them. You can see where they cross. And this one's just asking for the value of x. So that x value where they cross is going to be the correct answer. And then last one, question number 10. What quadrilateral will always have perpendicular diagonals? You can go back and you can watch my YouTube video that goes over the answers on the review, or you can look at the last one on the review. Only one of those 4 should actually have perpendicular diagonals. So again, remember to pause this video wherever you need to so that you can move to the correct question, and hopefully this will be enough help to get you going. Thank you.